So good morning, world. Um, Excuse the attire, but obviously it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So ended up spending the night on the sofa because fell asleep early. Anyway, I digress. But it's led me to think and to kind of thought to talk about insomnia, lack of sleep problems. This is something that I've kind of struggled with for about 2 or 3 years. Triggered through trauma, having some very traumatic experiences. It triggered high levels of anxiety and depression, which massively impacted my ability to slow my brain down to achieve a good level of sleep and a good level of quality sleep to be able to function properly. Because I think we all know that when we don't have enough sleep, it affects our concentration, it affects our energy levels, it affects our cognitive behaviour. You know, we can't think straight, we can't remember. You know, it's just all them kind of things which then impact our day-to-day existence. So I did all the normal things. I looked at my diet. I started to adjust when I would eat, avoiding eating late at meal, avoiding eating certain foods that would stimulate my digestive system. You know, when you get a lot of complex carbohydrates, eating late at night, your body starts to. So the fact that you are trying to digest this food, you go to sleep, you've put yourself down to sleep. Your brain is saying to your body, "No, you can't sleep. You've got to digest this food. You've got to do." So it holds you back. Also, the issues of mobile phones, the obviously the white light and the energy that comes off your phone. So not having the phone too near the bed, so that electrical waves could transfer, which they do from your phone. Your phone emanates, especially when it's plugged in. It becomes an electrical receptor. So it can be anything up to about 8 or 9 inches from you directly. It's transmitting electrical waves, which can have an impact on there. So keep it to one side. Not using my phone and things like that. At least an hour to an hour and a half before I go to sleep. One thing I did do is I thought that hour and a half before I went to sleep, I went through and I checked my emails, I checked my messages, to close down issues in my head, to know, so I wasn't going to bed thinking about waiting for messages, thinking about waiting, and not opening conversations. I wouldn't start a conversation with anybody on on any social media or anything like that, because that way I wasn't waiting for the call to come back. I wasn't waiting for the message. But then probably the kind of the lasting thing was when you suffer anxiety and depression, often it's this. It's not the thing that starts to trigger. It's that causes these kind of ongoing issues. It triggers obviously. It triggers issues with self-esteem, confidence, acceptance, understanding, which then goes on to, you start to worry about everything. So I found that for me, I wasn't working, so I was having an awful lot of financial concerns. I was concerned about relationships. I was worried about emails, trying to get a job. So I would go to bed and I would close my eyes, and I literally could feel it ramping. So I started all these different techniques to try and close down each section and try and stop that thought. But obviously, for me, the perpetuating one was the financial one and things like that. So one technique I started doing was they always say that, like for writers and for people that are in that kind of business, a pen and a piece of paper, so that if you've got an idea, you wake up in the middle of the night, you put that idea down, so you've got it for the next day or things like that. So what I did was I took it to a different level. So I used a pen and piece of paper, and I would go to bed, and I would literally, I could feel my brain starting to tick. So I would get the pen and I would write down what I was thinking. So what the situation was or what the issue was. And then I would think to myself, right, the first thing I was thinking is, can I do anything about this? Or is this something that's totally out of my control? If it was totally out of my control and I was waiting on something else and there was nothing physically I could do, it was just a fear, that kind of fear of the unknown. So you're waiting for an email to come back, or you're waiting for an job application to be reviewed. There's nothing I can do about that. I've done everything I can do. It's gone off. So I would write down, job application sent, email done, follow-up phone call done, cover letter done, everything I can do, tick. And then I would write underneath it, there's nothing more I can do. So I'm telling my brain, I'm telling myself, there's nothing I can do about this now. I've put a full stop in the issue. But then there might be an issue where it could be, I'd got a bill or a final notice and I was worried about it. So I would think, right, I've got this final, right, what can I do? Right, I need to ring them and speak to this person. I need to contact this person. I need to do this. I need to fill out this form. So I would write it down. I would write down everything that I physically needed to do. Could I do that tomorrow? When could I do it? I would set this up so it would be a case of, right, yes, I need to email that place to let them know I've received the letter. Right, that's the first thing I'm going to do in the morning. So I would write down the tasks that I needed to do and try and not to put a goal kind of target achievement date. Nothing that I wouldn't beat myself up about it. So that's something you've got to be very careful of, because that could then trigger another anxiety. So I wouldn't say a specific time, but I would be realistic about it, and I would set myself down. So, if there were 7 things on that list that I needed to do, I'm not going to do them all the next day. That was going to be too much. But I knew they had to be done by a certain date. So I would write down when that final date was, because you've got to be accountable. You've got to be there's got to be reality there. So yes, it could potentially set the trigger off, but I would then split it down into the individual tasks of when I could do them, to make sure that I would be done by that day and it wouldn't carry on. So I was building and building, and I would build my confidence as I was doing it. Now, the thing you've got to remember is, we're not perfect. There will be times when we can't do it because it's just too much. Okay? But the fact that you've acknowledged it, the fact that you know what you need to do, is the first step. And you should be proud of that, and you should acknowledge that. Now, if you didn't do it, and that then goes on to the next day, you go to sleep that night and think, oh God, I didn't do that tonight, I didn't do that tonight, oh my God. And you start stressing about that. Get your pen out, you write it down. What didn't you do? Why didn't you do it? What was it? Were you scared? Did you not know where to go? Do you need to speak to somebody? Who can you speak to? And we're not talking, a clinical person. It could just be a case of anybody, you ring your sister, your mother, your brother, your best friend, and go, oh, do you know what? I set myself this task of doing this yesterday and I didn't do it. And just offloading it. And, we're using people that we know are our allies. They're not going to judge us, but they're going to be there to help us. They're going to be there to keep us, be real with us, but they're not going to beat us up for it. They might turn around and go, well, there's nothing I can do to help you, JP, on this, because this is something you need to do. but you can do it. Now, admittedly, we don't all have big circles of friends, but there are people out there that can help us. There are people we can talk to. There are groups, associations who are prepared to listen to us unjudgmentally. You know, once you find that group, they will be an amazing support for you. But please remember, there's always somebody who will want to listen to you. Do you want to tell them? Do you want to move on from where you are? Now, the reality is, we all have different paths. We all travel at different speeds. So you may not be ready today. You might be ready tomorrow. But the fact that you've identified it and you know it and you've accepted it will help you get there. Not everything you can do on your own. You can't. And that's okay. But it's in doing these lists and thinking about these things and being true to ourselves, it helps take the anxiety down. It helps us calm the brain and to be able to get that sleep that we need, and we do need that sleep, so that when you wake up the next day, you feel a level of energy and a level of accomplishment, because that can be an accomplishment in itself, just getting the sleep. So you may wake up the next day feeling amazing and thinking, oh my God, I know I've got to get that stuff done today, but I've had such a good day's sleep, I'm going to go off and that's okay. Remember though, there is timelines, and the sad thing about life is there are certain things in life that we do need to do at certain times to avoid, you know, the legals or the issues of housing and that's, but remember, there's help. You know what's keeping you awake. You know what's in there. Nobody else does. You write it down. Tell it to yourself. Talk it through with yourself. You're not going crazy. You're not going insane. You're not, you know. But they say you know, insanity is talking to yourself. When you're going really mad, you're answering yourself back. No, you're not. Because you know where you need to be. Sometimes we don't know the right pathway, but we know where we want to be. We know we want to either want to be happy. We know we want to be rested and all that. But sometimes we just need a little bit of help. But people can't help you if you don't tell them. The list comes in. So do what you can do for you, whether it be through changing the way you eat, the exercise you take, going for walks and things like that is the best way to, again, clear the brain, slow it down, thinking time, alone time. But out there, doesn't matter whether it's windy or it's raining, you know, just getting out. But telling people what you need could be as simple as going to the chemist and saying, could you help me? I'm struggling with my sleep. Could you recommend anything? So we're not talking about therapists. It's as simple as that. You know, we could break it down. So just think, next time you're struggling to sleep, get that pen and piece of paper out quick. Or even before you go to bed, as you get into bed, write down the things that are really stressing you out. Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. You can do this. You are a strong person. Sometimes you might not feel it. You don't think it. You certainly might not want to say it. But you are. And you'll get there. And you'll get that good sleep. And you'll get that slower down. It may never go away perfect. No one's perfect. But you're doing the best that you can. Writing that list is the first start. Writing, is this anything you can do? You know, start separating out. Some things in life, there's nothing you can do to change it. It is what it is. You can't control other people. If you're waiting on somebody else, or if you're waiting on whatever it may be, if you've done everything, you've fulfilled all the requirements to get to that point, there's no point stressing about what you no longer can control. And by writing it down, looking at it, and then writing underneath, there is nothing more I can do. Full stop. It's there. I can calm down. So, I hope it helps in some way. I hope it gets with sleep. Good luck.